in a small African village, surrounded by tall trees and flowing rivers, lived a boy named Oja. He was poor and lived in a small hut with his mother. Life was simple and they didn't have much, but they had each other. One of the few things Oja's father had left behind was a wooden flute. It was carved by hand and sat quietly on a shelf in their home. One day, while helping his mother clean, Oja picked up the flute and held it in his hands. He was curious about the instrument his father had loved so much. Slowly, he raised it to his lips and played a soft note. The sound was gentle, but seemed to fill the entire room. Something amazing happened. Birds outside stopped singing and looked toward the hut. The wind blew softly through the trees as if it were listening to his music. Even the dogs in the village, usually noisy and playful, sat quietly as if enchanted by the sound. Oja's mother stood still, watching her son. She had always known there was something special about him, but now she could see it clearly. As Oja continued to play, it seemed like the flute was guiding him, not the other way around. From that day, Oja carried the flute with him wherever he went. He loved to play by the river, where fish would gather near the surface of the water. When he played in the fields, the farmers noticed that the rain would come gently instead of storming. If dark clouds formed, a few notes from Oja's flute seemed to calm the skies. The villagers began to notice Oja's strange and wonderful gift. "This boy has a special power," they whispered. "His music is a blessing." But Oja didn't let their words make him proud. He was just happy to play his music and bring peace to the people around him. Oja didn't fully understand the mystery of the flute, but he knew it was special. It wasn't just an instrument. It was something magical. Something connected to the world in ways he couldn't explain. He was unaware that this gift would one day change his life forever. As the years passed by, Oja grew into a fine young man, hardworking and full of life. The royal palace was a place always full of life, with music, laughter, and a cheerful presence of Princess Zara, the king's only daughter. Zara was loved by all for her bright smile and warm heart. But one day, everything changed. The princess didn't rise from her bed. Her face grew pale, her eyes dull, and her lively energy vanished. Desperate, the king summoned medicine men and women from across the kingdom. They brought herbs, potions, and rituals, but nothing worked. Zara grew weaker, her voice barely a whisper. The lively palace became silent. Was this a curse? Or a mysterious force? The king sat in his throne room, his heart weighed down by despair. Days had turned into weeks, and Princess Zara's condition only worsened. The healers had failed. The rituals had brought no answers, and hope was fading fast. The sight of his once bright daughter, now weak and silent, broke the king's spirit. One evening, unable to bear the pain any longer, the king stood before his court. His voice, though firm, trembled with emotion. "Hear me," he proclaimed. "Whoever can heal my daughter, Princess Zara, shall have her hand in marriage. News of the proclamation spread like wildfire. Healers, adventurers, and even ordinary villagers dreamed of the reward. One by one, they came into the palace with a promise. And so, across the kingdom, the race to save Princess Zara had begun. When Oja heard about the king's promise, his heart was filled with doubt. He was just a man from a poor home. How could he, of all people, hope to save the princess? What if he failed? These questions weighed heavily on his mind, and for days he struggled to decide what to do. His mother noticed his hesitation. One evening, as they sat outside their small hut, she spoke softly to him. "Oja, you have a gift unlike any other. Your flute has brought peace and joy to our village. Perhaps it can do the same for the princess." "But what if I fail, Mama?" Oja asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. His mother placed her hands gently on his shoulders. "Courage isn't about being fearless," she said. "It's about doing what is right, even when you are afraid. Trust your heart, Oja. It will guide you." Encouraged by her words, Oja made his decision. He packed his flute and a small bundle of food and set out for the palace the next morning. Each step carried him closer to his fate. Although fear lingered, Oja held tightly to his mother's faith in him. The palace courtyard was grand and overwhelming. Oja stood at the center, clutching his flute tightly. Surrounding him were nobles in fine robes, their eyes filled with doubt. At the far end of the courtyard sat the king, his face heavy with desperation and exhaustion. All eyes were on Oja, the poor boy from the village who had come to try what no one else could. Oja's heart pounded in his chest. The silence around him was deafening, broken only by the occasional murmur of disbelief. "What can this boy do?" someone whispered. Oja heard their doubts but tried to push them aside. He took a deep breath and raised his flute to his lips. Oja poured his heart into every note, his music speaking in a way words never could. It wasn't just a tune, it was a call, a plea for something greater to hear him. The courtyard, once filled with tension, now felt alive with an unexplainable energy. Oja's haunting melody floated through the palace, reaching beyond the physical world, setting the stage for something extraordinary to happen. Suddenly, a strange glow began to spread across the space. The crowd gasped, fear and wonder gripping them. And even the king leaned back, startled by the strange energy around them. From the swirling shadows, shapes began to form. They floated gracefully, their translucent forms both beautiful and otherworldly. The spirits moved silently, their presence filling the courtyard with awe. The elder spirit fixed his eyes on Oja as he spoke. "The cure for the princess lies deep within the forbidden forest," he said, his voice calm but heavy with meaning. "It is guarded by ancient creatures and hidden from all but the pure of heart." "I will go," Oja replied, his voice steady despite his fear. "Do you seek this cure for fame or fortune?" the spirit asked. "No," Oja replied, shaking his head. "I only want to help the princess and bring peace to the kingdom." The spirit spoke once more. "Your heart is true. Take this knowledge and go with courage. The journey will not be easy, but the reward is worth the risk." With that, he faded into the air, leaving Oja filled with both fear and determination. Oja prepared to leave immediately, his determination stronger than ever. The king offered his blessings. "Bring my daughter back to me," he said. Oja stepped into the forbidden forest, the air growing thick and heavy as he walked deeper among the towering trees. The sunlight faded behind the dense canopy, and shadows danced across the forest floor. The silence was eerie, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl and the rustling of unseen creatures. Oja gripped his flute tightly, his heart beating faster with every step. Suddenly, something massive began to rise from the earth. It was a creature unlike any he had ever seen. A guardian made of stone and twisting vines. Its towering body blended with the forest, and its glowing green eyes stared straight into Oja, as if searching his very soul. The creature roared, a sound so loud it shook the trees. Oja stumbled back, his legs trembling. For a moment, fear gripped him, and he thought of running. But then he remembered his mother's words and why he was here. Slowly, he brought his flute to his lips and began to play. The creature became quiet, and the earth stopped shaking. Oja played on, his music carrying his pure intentions into the creature's heart. After a long moment, the creature disappeared. Oja whispered a quiet thank you before continuing his journey, his resolve stronger than ever. The forest grew darker and more mysterious, but Oja pressed on. He knew the remedy lay ahead, and no matter what challenges awaited him, he would face them with courage and his music. As time passed, Oja had many more scary encounters. However, with determination, he pressed on. Finally, Oja reached the center of the dark forest. Just ahead of him was a glade, shining bright. Oja moved forward and took a closer look. In the center of the glade grew the herbs he had seen in the elder spirit's vision. Their leaves glowed faintly as though touched by magic. As Oja approached, he felt a strange energy in the air. The glade was alive, its beauty both enchanting and humbling. With great care, he gathered the herbs, thanking the spirits for guiding him. And with the cure in hand, he began his journey back to the palace. Oja's return to the palace was met with both relief and anticipation. He handed the herbs to the royal herbalists. The king and his court watched anxiously as the remedy was prepared. Every movement was filled with urgency, the fate of the princess hanging in the balance. As the remedy was gently administered to Princess Zara, the atmosphere in the palace grew heavy with a mix of hope and uncertainty. The king could barely sleep as he silently prayed for a miracle. As dawn broke over the palace, slowly, color returned to Princess Zara's cheeks, and her eyes fluttered open. Her laughter, soft and sweet, filled the room once more. The court erupted in joy. The king embraced his daughter, tears streaming down his face. "You have saved her," he said to Oja. "You have saved us all." True to his word, the king summoned Oja before the court. "For your bravery and your pure heart, I offer you my daughter's hand in marriage," he declared. Oja, though overwhelmed, accepted with humility, knowing his journey had been guided by something greater than himself. The wedding was a celebration like no other. The palace was adorned with flowers and music filled the air. Oja stood beside Princess Zara, her admiration for him shining in her eyes. Together, they symbolized hope, courage, and the power of humility. Oja's family and neighbors celebrated him with pride. To them, he was not just a hero, but a symbol of what one could achieve with courage and kindness. His mother wept with joy, her faith in her son rewarded beyond her wildest dreams. Zara's husband, Oja, became a respected figure in the kingdom. Together, the couple worked to bring peace and prosperity to their people, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. Yet, Oja remained humble and playing his flute for those in need. His music continued to bring joy and healing, a testament to the magic within him. Moral lessons. 1. True courage comes from a pure heart. Oja's willingness to enter the forbidden forest and face unknown dangers, even when he's scared, shows that bravery isn't the absence of fear, but the resolve to act for a good cause despite being afraid. 2. Humility and kindness triumph over status. Although he comes from a poor village, Oja's selfless nature and humility enable him to succeed where others fail. The story emphasizes that a caring spirit can be more powerful than wealth or fame. 3. Belief in one's unique gift. Oja's flute symbolizes the special abilities each person holds. By using his talent to help others, Oja demonstrates that believing in and sharing our gifts can bring positive change to the world. 4. Faith and support. From loved ones. Oja's mother's belief in his abilities gives him the confidence to pursue the impossible. This highlights how love and support from family or friends can inspire individuals to overcome their greatest challenges. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more stories like this, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.